That's okay. I'm playing closing time. I'm gone live. We're live right now. People can hear us.
Alrighty.
We'll be starting in a minute, folks. If anybody's watching, I got one person watching. That's probably Bjorn. Shamballocks Bjorn.
Yep. Bless his heart. Bjorn is always around. He's our buddy.
Yep, he is. We love Bjorn. Bjorn can hear us, Largo. You know that, right? We're
I do
live.
know.
We are live.
I imagine we'll have a few
My connection just went
over here.
really, really slow.
There's the studio.
Hey, Susudio. As soon as AOM's over, we're going to start the show. So just hang tight. We're going to let him finish his closing song. We're going to let him finish his last few words, and then we'll start live as soon as he stops his stream. Might be getting Battle Gnome in here. I don't know how I'm going to get him on the channel. I think he's got his gear up and running now. So,
Oh, good.
Once Battle Gnome gets, we'll see about getting some folks on the show with us and everything. But I like Salt will show up too. He's pretty cool. I haven't really paid a whole lot of attention to the chat over there at AOM tonight because I've been busy setting up the studio here.
Right. I had
looking
a
in every now
Patreon
and
with
again.
Grindhead, so I didn't catch a whole lot of it tonight myself. So you want to have some guests on tonight, Bill, or you just want to talk to people in the chat? What do you feel like doing tonight?
Well, we'll see. But Battle Gnome, he was going to try to be on with us the other day, and he didn't have his gear set up. So I'm hoping Battle Gnome will come on in tonight, and we can bring him on the show. I may have to put the link right on out there in the chat, but we'll of course Sue Studio can come on too. We might get to chat with her a little bit. We'll just see who shows up.
Alrighty.
Yeah, we're only going to do about 2 hours, so when the 2 hour mark hits, you be sure and feed the damn ducks.
Yes, sir. Yeah, my posterior can't take more than about 2 hours in this chair.
And together we see you in the next one.
Start up.
Words to live by. Together we will triumph.
Good deal. OBS is over there promoting us.
Well, it's all good. Even if it's just you and I, Bill, we'll have a good chat.
Begin transmission.
This program is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised.
Bill, your mic's muted, buddy.
There we go. I guess I had myself muted. Hey, everybody. Bjorn Jorgensen came in tonight first. Shambolics there, buddy. Of course, we got Largo with us, Studio in the channel. Who else is here? OBS. Hey, what's going on, OBS? Good to see you, Denise. James Metcher is here. How you doing there, James? Salty D, what's going on, Salty D? Good to see you in. Yeah, I got my sound back up there, Studio. Yeah, good to see you too, Salty D. And yeah, I got my sound back going up and going. I had it muted while the intro was going, and I forgot about that. All right, so good to see everybody in tonight. Me and Largo were here. We're kind of hoping Battle Gnome will show up. If he shows up, we're going to try to get him on the channel with us. Real quick, while I got you guys here, something really horrible happened here not too long ago. A very good friend of mine's son just suddenly and just died. This man was 27 years old. He left a wife and a little baby girl, and he was their sole support. We went to the funeral today. I'm posting in the chat now a link to a GoFundMe for them. I would very much appreciate it if you guys would go over there. Just whatever little bit you want. Don't. If you were going to give me any kind of donations tonight, don't. Because if you do, any donations I get through Streamlabs are going straight to this. But I'm going to put this up on the screen for you guys to see it. We call this guy T-Rex. His name is Mikey Tadlock. And here it is right here. This is his GoFundMe page. All this is for his burial expenses.
How old was he, Bill?
He was 27 years old.
Wow.
He died on New Year's Eve night. They found him at his home. He was in a great deal of pain. They rushed him to the hospital, and he died in the hospital. And they said it was a blood clot that traveled up, I guess, into either his heart or his lungs, and it just killed him. And it was a sad thing. I went to the funeral today, and it was horrible. And please, I don't care if you donate 25 cents or $1, all this money will build up. And I'm asking everyone, to go over to this page. I posted the link over here. As a matter of fact, let me make sure that
Let me
I'm
pull
going
it
to
up here.
check
Is that it?
out. I'm going over into YouTube Studio, which might make everything kind of get wonky here for a minute, but I'm gonna make sure that that's.
I'm going to pin that.
I'm going to pin that. Yeah, I'm going
Alright.
to pin that. All right, so
And he
this is
left
pinned at
behind
the top.
a young wife as well. And did he have a youngin?
Yes, as a matter of fact, let's read what it says down here. Dear friends and family of Mikey Tadlock, I'm writing you today to let you know about the loss of Mikey. Mikey passed extremely sudden, leaving behind his loving wife Danielle and a 10-month-old baby girl Taylor. We're absolutely devastated by Mikey's passing and are struggling to find the funds to cover the cost of the service. So all these donations that they're getting through this GoFundMe page are going towards his funeral expenses. And I don't know if you guys know it or not, but funerals cost out the rear end. It's beyond comprehension how much an actual funeral costs.
It's one of those things when you're living payday to payday and you don't have death insurance. It's just something you're just not expecting to pay for.
And like I said, any little bit that you give, if you don't have a lot, you can give a little, but whatever it takes, and I would appreciate if you guys would do that. My club has stepped up to the plate as well. We're going to have a benefit for him on the 28th, and we're going to try to raise some money that way. But I promised his dad, Big Mike, we call him Loose Change, and I'll tell you the story about how he got his nickname here in just a minute. But I told Loose, I said, look, you give me a GoFundMe link, and I will broadcast it on my channel and try to get some of the people that I know watch me from all over the United States and the world. We may even get Zazel from Australia to come in here in a little bit. But Battle Gnome says he's setting up his cams.
Cool.
Good deal, Battle Gnome. Just let us know when you got the cam set up. All right, thank you, OBS. I appreciate that, honey. I really appreciate that. And like I said, Nightbot's telling y'all that y'all can tip me on Streamlabs. I'm telling you now, don't do it. Put it on the GoFundMe. But if you do tip me on Streamlabs tonight, and I get an explosion up here in the corner that tells me that I've got a Streamlab tip, any money I make tonight is going to go straight onto this GoFundMe. So y'all just know that. And yeah, that ain't right. 27 years old. It ain't right to die that young. Yeah. He's younger than my daughter. My daughter's 29 years old. So it hit really bad. T-Rex was going to join our club. He had come before us. He had been a Wendigo at one time, which is another club here in the area. And he had gotten out because for various reasons we won't go into. But anyway, he came to us because his dad was in our club. And he said, I want to join, but I'm just going to hang around for now because I want to find a place for me and my wife to live of our own. So we're not living at Dad's house. I want to get some of my debt paid off. And when I get in the right place, then I'll be ready to be in the club. So he's been hanging around with us all this time. We've grown to love him just like he was a brother in the club anyway. So it's like one of ours has died. So I mean, we treated it that way as well. He got a full motorcycle escort today.
Excellent. Yeah, way too young. That's a shame.
And I absolutely agree with Denise. No parent should ever have to bury their child.
Yeah.
No parent should ever have, and Salty D says it would kill me if that was my son who was 25. So yeah. Let me lighten the mood a little bit. Largo, I'm gonna play something here that I've got over here in my little repertoire of things, and I'll just play that real quick. I'm going to run check on my wife real quick as well. Let's see what we got. I got some old time commercials. We'll watch those for a minute, and then I'll be right back. Okay.
Sounds good.
And now these messages.
Who's the big guy with the muscles?
He's He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. Skeletor is his enemy.
Here's He-Man, Skeletor, and Castle Grayskull. You have to put the castle together.
You're doomed, He-Man.
Oh, yeah? Watch this action, Dad. Now I have the power.
He-Man and Skeletor each sold separately. Castle Grayskull also sold separately from the Masters of the Universe collection from Mattel.
As evening approaches Toothopolis, so do the cavity creeps.
Oh, no! Cavity creep!
Hurry, the crest's up.
Cavity creep spotted.
We make holes in teeth.
Christmas Florestan will fix them.
Not crest!
Yay! Crest!
Watch treats,
See your dentist.
and fight the cavity creeps like the Crest team.
Fight cavities with Crest.
All right, I kind of cleansed the palate there a little bit, I think. Let's go back and see what's happening in chat. See, Salty D says, my son is changing to days now and training on painting. What is that? Kirakote?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, Mikey didn't have any insurance, so that he had medical insurance, but he didn't have any burial insurance or life insurance.
Well, sure. When you're 27, you're not thinking about that.
No, you think you're going to live forever when you're 27. Salty D says she's fighting her cavities with whiskey. Okay. Well, at least this is like antiseptic there within your mouth, you know.
Oh, Cerakote. Okay, I know what he's talking about now.
Okay, that's painting. All right, thank you. We're country folks, so you know some things kind of go above our head. All right, Noam, tell me when you're ready. I'm going to post a StreamYard link in here. This is for Noam though, and once I get him on here, I'm going to make it disappear. So let me put the invite code in here. Once you get in here, Noam, there's a private chat as well within StreamYard. I think you used it with JPR the other day. I'd like to get your email address and any way to DM you if possible, so that if we do this in the future, cam ain't playing. Well, you don't have to have your cam on. As long as we can hear you, that'd be fine. Here comes the link. There we go. Now, Susudio, if you want to come in too, now you're more than welcome, because we enjoyed you the last time you were in here.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see if we can get old Battle Gnome going. Yeah, sometimes this technology doesn't play well with us. We just have to keep working with it a little bit.
That is true.
Yeah, coffee's brewing. A lot of you guys don't watch me, so I'll go ahead and pull the toy cam up real quick and let you guys see what I've been working on here lately. This is Snake Mountain. It is a vintage playset that I have begun restoring. So there's that's kind of one of my ongoing projects right now. But anyway, I kind of wanted to show that off. Largo, you've been working on something with your figures as well, haven't you?
Yes, sir. I just got a care package from the continental U.S. of some Action Force stuff, my military line that I like to do toy photography with. So I'm working on putting together some displays for my Instagram and whatnot.
Here's Sue Studio. We'll bring her in the stream real quick. Hey, young lady.
What's up, dude? Excuse me for rubbing by.
Here's Noah.
Allergy season.
Welcome, Battle Gnome. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear everybody.
No Cam going tonight. You Cam decided to take a dump.
I don't know. I tore it down last week because I'm work. Wait a second. I'm getting an echo. Let me turn off my stuff.
All right. Probably got a window open.
Somebody else has got an echo going on, I think.
All right, I'm gonna start muting streams here.
Oh, hold on. No, that's me. All right. So yeah, I'm working on the house, so I got to move my audio gear around, so I got to tear it down and set it back up. So the light, now I have all these wires all over the place because I got all my work computer set up because I work remote. So
yeah, I can understand it. Well, earlier today, Largo could tell you that right before we started the stream tonight, my cat decided to take a roam back here behind my computer and knocked all my internet loose, and I had to rush to get all this back set back up again. So I know how it goes.
We both got a big old mess of black spaghetti wires all over the place here that we need to tidy up.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, it's cable management. It's gone amok. Yeah. Cats suck at cable management.
They do. They think that it's toys to play with.
Yeah, I mean, you try and teach them, but they don't pay attention. They act like they do. They look all interested, and you turn around and they got the cables all twisted up, and they can't do the ties with their little paws. They suck at that. It's hopeless. So yeah, that's what I got going on. Really, is my life is working. So we covered in the last time I was in the chat, maybe 2 weeks ago, I guess. I got my start. My first gig was as a contractor at a design firm working for Hasbro. Hasbro used to be here in Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I was a big wrist for the industrial design teams down there because industrial design teams, they have like a DAP here. They got a 5-year program for their industrial design, and does James Meeker say cat thong? Is he back on? That's JPR's show. No thing. Never mind. I misread it. Okay. It was like
what?
Walmart cats. I got confused for a minute. I misread that.
Oh yeah, JPR stuck on people of Walmart today, and he hasn't shown the real ugly underbelly of people of Walmart.
Dark underbelly of Walmart.
Oh Jesus! Don't even go there.
The pictures that he's shown us have been fairly tame. I've seen much worse.
So have I.
Yeah. Might question my faith in humanity with that segment. So
go ahead, No, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying that I used to work on a lot of different pretty popular toys. I used to illustrate the little stickers and appliques that go on toy sets that you get in your kit, your toy sticker. So
that's interesting. That's interesting. So you've got a little bit of experience working with a toy company.
Well, now, I'm desperately trying to develop relevance with your theme of your channel. So.
Well, I understand that, but see, here's the thing. That's what we normally do on the channel. But I also have a couple of other segments that I do on Fridays. Largo and I do open mic where it's pretty much open, but it's on Friday afternoons when I get off work. A lot of toy people come into that. But tonight is a Saturday night unofficial AOM after party that I call up all night. We're not really going to be up all night, about 2 hours, right, Largo? We have done an all-nighters before, and it kills us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Susudio was involved in one of those, but yeah.
Hey,
Anyway,
I didn't plan on it. Trust me.
Yeah, me either. It gets away from you after a while, but we've kind of learned how to keep control of that. But tonight is basically for everybody that's at AOM that really wants to continue their conversations to wind those conversations down. The way I kind of look at it, it's like when the bars are closed, everybody goes down to either a coffee house or in this area they go to the Crystal Restaurant, which is open 24/7, and they kind of sit around and kind of sober up and have a good time together.
Best thing around here for that is closest to me would be Waffle House.
Yeah, I like Waffle House especially. It's a good place to go.
Ooh, God, that looks awful.
It looks warm though.
Yeah, we're going outside. It's time for a nicotine blast.
I got you. All right.
I'm still here. I just turned the camera off.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm fixing to turn on the display name so people will know who's down here.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah. So
Yes, one thing I miss about living here in a banana republic is there's not a whole lot of late night coffee shops. Everything just kind of rolls up.
Well, that brings up a point. We were talking about people of Walmart.
Oh God.
Yeah, well, see, the thing is, Walmart used to be open 24/7. I don't think that the Coop they started closing early now, so they don't stay open all night long. But boy, howdy, after midnight, that's when the wildlife.
It's like when you get a gumption to go and pick up some gummy bears or whatnot at your Walmart, and you think that leaving the house in your pajamas is a good idea. You need to rethink your life choices. You know what I'm saying?
I think
you need to go to Speedway, okay? Because you're a VIP. No, you don't go on parade when you're in Speedway.
Yeah,
half of everybody.
Folks, they need to understand that Lycra and spandex has a weight limit. It'll only stretch so far.
Oh Jesus! Have you ever gone through? Go on.
Go ahead, Sissy. Oh, I was just going to say that there are some things that you should not wear after a certain age or body type.
Well, it's not even just age. When your maximum density exceeds a size large, okay, in those, I don't know what the hell they call them these days. Leggings, there we go.
Yeah.
And your optimum density, because, an extra large, people wear those so they got room because they're going to shrink when you wash them. We know. We're not stupid. But, honey, when you've got a 2 to 3X behind and you're cramming them in an XL, those seams are going, oh, for the love of God, take me off.
I think
when
we
your
could
rear view looks like two puppies fighting in a burlap sack, something ain't right.
We could start with no weddings or funerals and work from there. We just have draw that line.
Well,
that can't be crossed, and then we can.
Well, if you guys remember, most of us here were old enough in the 80s to notice how stupid people dressed. We thought it was bad with the padded shoulders. Bring me the padded shoulders, the stirrup pants, which were always baggy in the hiney, and bring me the slouch boots. I'll take those any day over way too tight leggings, midriff shirts on women that weigh in excess of 200 pounds, and go out and think they look good.
Well, the thing is, if you're wearing leggings and you have Dunlop's disease, you don't need to be wearing those. Everybody should know what Dunlop's disease is, right?
Well, pipe fitter's disease.
Yeah, it's when your belly done lopped over your
belly.
We
definitely. You don't dare wear a belt buckle that has any points on it, because you will deflate that inflated tar that done lopped over it.
Exactly.
There's too many giggles going on.
The height of fashion in hillbilly land, where I come from, was if you need a Sunday go to meeting T-shirt, you get the one that has the tuxedo screen printed on the front.
Hey! Watch it. I have a T-shirt that the front of it's printed like an ugly sweater. Okay.
Well, I'm wearing the height of fashion tonight. I'll share with you all here. I got a little Christmas present from the wife. What do you think about that?
Oh, there we go. We got some
Very
swag
nice.
on there.
Got to represent.
Well, you got to. If you don't, you got no style.
I hear you. My wife, I like salt, had JPR send me a teddy bear, and as soon as I got the teddy bear, she snatched it away from me. I'm sure everybody that was on AOM that night that JPR showed the picture of her, saw her with her big smile on her face with her bear.
Well, cool. I'm glad it was your bear originally, but it's been repossessed by her.
That's correct.
What's the old saying? What's mine is yours, and what's yours is yours.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of the way it works. She's. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear her, but she's.
What's mine is mine, and what's yours is mine too.
Exactly. That's exactly what she just said. She's right over.
And I heard her cackling, so she heard me.
Yeah. Yeah, she's right over in her little office area, which is right.
Kind of like a
cow. Straight and narrow, so she gets a pass.
Well, see, that's a California divorce too. What's mine is mine. What's yours is mine too. To hell with you.
Yeah, well, yeah. OBS said the right. Said no, Bill. It was never your bear.
That follows the phrase. You know, you got it for me.
Yeah.
That goes right in with that phrase. Yeah. You knew I always wanted one of those.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, Gnome, what's going on with the crack farm? I haven't heard any crack farm updates, or I haven't paid.
Well, I want to start a channel of 5 to 7 minute or 10-minute excerpts on the crack farm updates. But what I'd like to do first is develop a library of content and B-roll that I could talk over and shoot that. So it might be a few months of me actually working on the house and recording, so that way I don't have gaps, or I don't have to sort of scramble week to week to come up with 10 minutes of content, because some processes are going to take longer than others. So you have to even that out.
We are fans of the 1980s montage, so get yourself a good 80s song and speed up the footage, and we're good to go.
We could do it to Top Gun or something.
There you go.
So, but we're gonna be doing other things related to it. We're probably gonna be going to the range and doing some weapons maintenance and talking Enlightenment philosophy a little bit about getting back to the relevance of masculinity in society, and retuning what it is to be a traditionalist and the preservation of founding principles and that kind of stuff. That kind of light affair. So
one of our other buddies, Jimmy Salzberg, was a quartermaster, so he definitely has kept us entertained with some of his stories about how weapons would get returned and how he'd have to teach the guys.
He was in the armory.
Maintenance.
He was
I asked him one time, did he ever get slipped a 20 and inside the weapon so that the weapon could get taken back in the armory, and he said no comment.
No.
Yeah.
No, because if Gunny didn't see it first, it wasn't going near the armory. So that was a non-starter on our. We'd be on the corner of the parade wreck cleaning the weapons 2 or 3 times a week and getting them turned in, and it had to be Q-tip clean too.
Oh yeah.
Because I would check my guys. I was a corporal, so I had to check my trolls, make sure that their stuff was squared away. So, because it'd come back on me, and I wasn't having that. No
yeah, it could be pretty brutal, especially if you were at 3 a.m. in the morning.
You were Navy, right? Am I confused?
Me? No, I was in the I was
Air Force. No, damn it.
Army.
Okay, Army. These vets are flowing around, and I get them mixed up. I know we get an Air Force guy in here somewhere, and etc.
Right.
So,
I was in the Florida National Guard out of high school, and then I went active.
Well, I was almost ready, which means Army Reserve.
Yeah.
Well, my son went to the National Guard after 6 years active, and he was a tank commander when he got out. Excuse me, just picked up E6, and then he got bored at his day job and decided to go active again. So now he's overseas somewhere as a Cav Scout.
Well,
So,
I was 54 Bravo, which is a chemical operations specialist, and I could tell you some stories about what actually happens when you're a chemical operations specialist that they don't tell you in the training videos. But I really wanted to be a tanker. I wanted to be a tanker really, really bad. And now, if I were back young again, joining the Army now, I could be a tanker, because in today's Army, it's so woke. I think that it's like watching Sesame Street. If you believe hard enough that you can be something, you can do it. Because when I went in, they told me that because my vision was at 20/20, I couldn't be a tanker. So that they picked something else for me.
Well, that recruiter will always give you some fairy tales about, oh yeah, you sign here and we'll get you this school and that school, and then you get through basic and you're like, well, that wasn't right.
Now, the chemical decontamination equipment was mainly used to wash vehicles and shower nasty asses. So we
the NBC guys would set up a perforated galvanized pole and stretch it off of. We take what was called Navy showers. It's not as dark and weird as it sounds, and we'd stand on one set of pallets and have our towels and stuff on the other, and you walk through to the other set. So you had the pole set up, and they're perforating, the water spraying down. You have pallets on each side of the pole, like the pole's horizontal, about 7 or 8 feet in the air, whatever. So you'd walk through, suds up, and then walk back, then dry off, and you were done. And that's what we did that like once a week while we were in the Gulf. And that was high living. There's a bunch of company of naked Marines running around the desert for, I don't know. That's not as interesting as it sounds either. So, at least not to me.
I didn't sign up to set up showers for people to wash in and all that kind of stuff. But that's what some of the stuff we ended up doing.
We had it was called a Fox, right? It was kind of a LV. Was it an LV8? The LV, damn it, the hull of an amphibious vehicle, and it had the sampling doodads that come out the side and these little weapon ports and stuff. That was called the Fox. It had these sensors all over the place and positive pressure environment and all this other stuff that they would use to run the. So that's what I knew the NBC truck to be, was a Fox.
Yeah, I remember that thing. They had one. Studio left. I guess we were boring her, or maybe she had to step out for a minute, but she can always come back because she's got the link. I think I did kill the link in the chat. Did I kill that link in the chat, Largo?
I believe so.
All right, good. No offense to everyone else. If you want to be on, if you know how to contact me, and I will let you on maybe. But and Bjorn, no offense, man, but tonight we're just gonna have like Battle Gnome and maybe Susudio and stuff like that. I don't want to have a whole bunch of people in here. The more people in the stream, Largo can attest, it tends to make things run a little too slow.
Yeah,
I think you may have experienced that before, no?
Yeah,
all right. Here's Bjorn back again. Hey, Bjorn. I'm going to let you sit down there. If you've got something really important that you need to talk to us about, you can always hit it in the private chat. I did answer you over there in the private chat when you told me that you had no pants on, and I could care less about that. I don't want to. So I'm just curious, Gnome. And I don't know if you can release any. You might have a non-disclosure agreement there with JPR. But when you guys go on the Tuesday show, how does that work? Because I think he's streaming you guys into OBS, but I'm not sure, what you guys can see on y'all's end. Can you elaborate a little bit on that
Oh,
for me?
I can't speak to that at all. He's got the buttons and the levers and the things and that all over, so I can't see what's going on.
He's the wizard
It's like
behind the
here,
curtain.
I get the link, and anything beyond that, I could guess. I could make something up, but
Right.
Yeah,
but
Bill and I are always tinkering with stuff, trying to get the camera to work better.
The reason we're asking is because we're trying to figure out how he's doing that so that we might can improve our show a little bit and get away from StreamYards. And the options that we have are just not what we want them to be at this point. But of course, I'm not as musically inclined as he is. My show doesn't have a lot of music on it, and I'm not playing it strictly through OBS like he is. But when you use the virtual webcam in OBS and then you bring it in through StreamYard, any real music tends to be compressed to the point where it sounds like it's coming out of a cheap speaker in one of those old transistor radios.
I got a speaker from Best Buy that I use, and I've got some kind of Brave 7 camera that I use that I can use as a kind of a GoPro type of gadget. So that's I mean, it's a pretty primitive setup. And if you saw what laptops and stuff I was running my remote business on, and when I say remote business, I mean I work for a company, but I work remote. So if you saw the equipment I was using, you'd be pretty underwhelmed. I had my
I could show you some underwhelming things on this end right here.
I got when I was after I got out of my bachelor's degree, I had a bunch of GI Bill money left over, so I left college to go in the service. I got out of high school when I was 17. I left college to go into the service, and I had a scholarship, a studio scholarship. So I had some GI Bill money left over, and so I went and I got an associate's in software engineering. So we learned all kinds of electronics and machine languages and things. So it was ironic that the more sophisticated and technologically focused your major was, the more primitive your gear was. To where some classes we just had a piece of plywood and then some alligator clips, and a white circuit board. While down the street at Office Technologies, they had the high end stuff where they were running the Microsoft suite. So it was kind of reverse to what you might intuitively think when you're going through those programs. So I thought that was interesting.
What you can put together with bubble gum and baling wire.
Well, we had a motherboard with a 68K chip on it, which is primitive, and we'd have to turn all kinds of like little LED lights off and on and stuff like that. So if you're thinking about getting your software engineering degree, that's you got to do your time in math class and Boolean algebra. So that's
it's more about learning the theory of how things work together or how things flow.
I don't even know.
Let me answer that, because I've got an associate's degree in computer programming, and for the first few years that you're going through that, you take all this high level mathematics that you'll never use again. I had to take the physics and all that shit, and all that is to make your brain work, so that you can think in a certain way, because you have to think that way in order to do programs. But you never use that high level mathematic ever again. I mean,
did you learn assembly? Did you have to learn one of the assembly languages?
Assembly language? I didn't learn assembly language. What I ended up taking was, like I said, it's an associate's degree, so I was just getting started. We learned Java, and I learned C++ and C.
So yeah, we learned the 68K and then the Java, but the Java, why do they even teach that? Unless you're
at the time that I was going through was in the late 90s, early 2000s, and they thought that Java, because it was made to be cross platform, and also you could run it through web browser and stuff. They thought that that was going to be the new programming language that everybody was going to be using, and it was pushed real hard.
Yeah, well, maybe I was using my I use my authoring tools wrong, but I get prompted to update my JVM still.
Oh, always.
So I don't know what that means.
Constantly being worked on, and I do use Java a little bit in my HTML programming, but not like I used to. JavaScript and Java are two different things. However, the way the syntax is very similar. So once you learn Java, you can write JavaScript stuff real easy. And
well, I understand that Sun Microsystems, which developed Java, there were some refugees that worked on. Now, what was it? Netscape. Who did Netscape? They developed JavaScript for the browser. Who developed? Not Mozilla. Anyway, one of the main browser manufacturers.
I think you are talking about those guys from over there at Mozilla.
Yeah, so they used JavaScript, and it was sort of a connector they wanted. It has nothing to do with Java except for maybe some syntax, but it's a completely different monkey.
It all runs in your browser. And what they were trying to get away from was server side and get the client side, so that all that stuff was running on the client side instead of the server side. We're getting really technical, guys. I know Gnome knows what I'm talking about, but
well, Java was self-contained, a program called an applet that would just be up there. It was a black box that would load under your I want to say the server.
I don't even think you can load a Java program into a modern web browser, because the thing about it was it would get out of the sandbox and you could do things with it that you didn't want to happen, which the hackers took advantage of.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that Java would write your windows and your full interface and all the buttons and everything. So it was a chunk of code that just sat up there. Where JavaScript is, I use Node so that I can do back-end stuff too. Man, that souned dirty. I didn't mean to say it like that. So I could write server-sided, calls to databases and things like that, SQL queries. But I try not to. I do mostly front-end development in Java or JavaScript, not Java, JavaScript. And I use libraries like Angular.js and 3.js and stuff like that. So it's not like I'm mastermind of all this.
Right. And see that's the thing. Nowadays, all of this stuff is been written, like he's talking about, into libraries that you can use. And instead of doing it my way, which is to open up a notepad and actually write the damn code.
Notepad++, right?
Yeah, I've got that too, because therefore you can have more than one notepad open at one time.
Yeah,
somebody might be apples and oranges, but for from an end user point of view and a novice, when they talk about things that are open source, are they talking about something that leads into those kind of things where you can
no
contribute, or is that a whole different
that's
thing?
talking about like open source software means that the code is readily available, so that you can actually get the code and you can actually to do anything you want to with it. But what happens is that you have all of these guys that are working on this stuff in their spare time, working on the same project, and it's usually free, usually for an operating system like Linux. I pronounce it Linux. I know some people pronounce it Linux and all that kind of shit. But Linux is a version of Unix that will run on a personal computer. And all of this open source means that that many creators are working on this at the same time for free for everybody.
Like for me, I use what they call something called Open Office because it does everything I need it to do. And
exactly. Well, the idea being that all this stuff should be free to everybody. It's kind of a communist thought, but that's the way the internet started out. It was everybody working together, and all information was supposed to be free information until some of the big boys
Well,
got
it's there's the proprietary universe when I was coming up.
Yeah.
Where you had the 86K
Mm-hmm.
processor assembly, and that was Microsoft. And you would run everything through the Microsoft IIS, or you could run everything on the Apache server, which is the open source reality, which was C++ in Unix. So you had just kind of Mac servers and things that were all written in Unix. And that was or you could do, what was the other one? VB Code was the Microsoft universe.
Yeah, that'd be Visual Basic, and
Right.
Which was a kind of a combination of the basic programming language, if you remember that, Largo.
Yeah.
Along with a front end that would allow you to create all the little doodads and windows around it, and then run it. And once you compiled that, you could run that in a Windows.
Right. I vaguely remember in school they were pushing C++, and then, like you were saying, Java was
C++
something
was
that got bandied about.
basically the C programming language, kind of expanded a little bit.
Yeah, they get the JavaScript source code, I think, is written in C++. C++ is the grandfather language of a lot of different.
Yeah, I think Windows itself, the operating system Windows, was written in C++.
Yeah, it's a big umbrella.
Now OBS is down here. She's saying something's wrong with her computer. It's not holding a charge. And she got a new one, but she's sick of this. Are they supposed to die after only 3 years? Yes, they are, because they want you to go buy another one. Nothing is designed to last forever.
Or if you had your associates in applied science in software engineering, you could just get some plywood and a motherboard and a 68 chip and write your own server in assembly 68K. But she's not up to that, apparently.
I would think not. Not even I would be willing to go in that direction. However, I think one of the things we used to do would go into the news groups and troll and about writing. Does anybody know how to write in C? We need some help because we want to create our own operating system and just see it blow up. Fun.
Well, we had a what was the name of Steve Jobs' buddy when they started Apple together?
Wozniak.
Wozniak. Yeah.
Wozniak. Yeah.
He was. Somebody was talking about how he was programming things, in his head and writing them down.
Wow.
Like he would write them down on paper with pen. And now anybody who, like, nowadays, the way you I program in the browser is I just type a line and hit Command R like every 3 seconds. Then back when we were in probably the kids, they were writing programs in punch cards.
Oh my God, I remember those things.
You had to set up. You get those. You go to the. I see it on television. I've never actually been a game.
I did key punch years ago.
And
you got I took classes in it.
So what is that? Oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember.
That was back when computers were the size of a whole gymnasium kind of thing.
Yeah, you had to sign up for computer processing time, as I understand it.
Well, those mainframes, you got a certain amount of time on your terminal.
Yeah. And then you would take the big stack of punch cards and plop them into the shoe, and they would run them through the reader.
Yeah,
that'd be insane.
Yeah, they have to correlate and sort them.
An episode of Dragnet that they showed I guess it was the Social Security office. There was there was somebody that was doing some fraud there. They were stealing people's that were dead Social Security numbers and getting that. And then Gannon and Friday had to go down and the man was showing them the computer and they had the punch cards going through that shoe. It was and it was so simplistic the way they were explaining it. I'm just sitting there laughing at it.
Well, it's like I remember reading somewhere that when we had the space shuttle program, the height of their technology was a 8088. That was like their navigation computer.
Oh yeah, that was back in the space shuttle days. That the computer that was in the space shuttle, it wasn't even as powerful as today's iPhones.
It's they had back on the Saturn V rocket, they had seamstresses weaving code into these copper meshes, and they would read the Boolean algebra like they would read a pattern on a I don't know, fabric, and that would tell them how to run what rings through the copper. The ceramic little rings that they would, little insulators. And
sounds more like Braille.
It was like a frame. It was more like a bed frame, You're like, if you take the fabric off of a bed frame and it's got all the wires running through little, spokes and things. It's pretty crazy that they would just give these ladies a pattern and they would take that expression and then they would weave that they essentially wove their computer. It would be today's thumb drive would be a 3 foot by 3 foot frame that they would be weaving together.
Yes, OBS, there is a rooster crowing. I think somebody else, James was asking earlier where you're at, and he wanted to know if you're in the Dominican Republic. Largo,
I'm in a banana republic. I'm in Guatemala, and yes, I have a rooster next door that can't decide if it's day or night. He just crows whenever he feels like it. So that's typical.
Sounds like that rooster that was on Green Acres.
Yeah. If it wasn't for the fact that he's responsible for my next door neighbor's hen's egg production, I would probably take and make him disappear because he's rather annoying.
Yeah, they can do that. There is a rooster crowing. Yeah, you hear. Sometimes there's dogs barking, but I think we're late enough now. The dogs have decided to go snoozing.
Yeah, they're probably laid up on the bed right now. I had to get a king-size bed because I'm not a big guy, but I got 3 big dogs, and they all take the foot of the bed. So,
well, I was going to ask Noam. You were talking earlier about the crack farm. There used to be a show on PBS called This Old House where they would go in and refurbish the house. And of course, there's angry cops over there who bought a crack house up there in Buffalo, and he does that called This Old Crack House. So I'm thinking that the crack farm is going to be like This Old Crack Farm.
Well, it's going to be hard not to. I mean, it's. I'm going to try and have my own flavor. I'm going to liberally. What's the term? Credit OBS, not OBS. Sorry. OBS is not doing a crack farm. I'm going to liberally credit Angry Cop for inspiring this pattern, but I think I'm going to be it's going to be a little bit more hands-on. I have demoed and replaced and updated old buildings before in my youth. So we would get a 1840s era. I mean, it had the horsehair plaster and lath. It had the knob and tube. It had the galvanized pipes, and we had to tear it all out and replace it. So this is kind of the same thing, but it's going to be a little bit. I don't know. If the two extremes are this old crack house and this old house, it's going to be probably towards the Angry Cops end of the spectrum, but it's going to be more informative, I think, towards the this old house, PBS style of.
I imagine you've got to have a pretty good sense of humor because when you get into a restoration project, you're either going to laugh or you're going to beat something up with.
I think the spark of the show is that I won't have a sense of humor and I will be explicitly and It's sincerely frustrated, angry, hot, and aggressive. So
And that would probably be humorous to those of us watching.
it would be.
Oh yeah.
I'm counting on it. So,
Paul said she would watch it.
no, I'd tell you, we used to special order these framing hammers. They were called 32 Vaughn hammers, a 32-ounce Vaughn hammer with a big old hickory handle on it. And instead of taking a sledgehammer, you'd be hanging upside down. I'm a kid, right? So we're framing in a house, and I'll hang upside down, and I'll be smacking the hell out of the plate on a floor to move a wall around or get it straight. And my brother used to say, just like I'd work. He's like the crew lead. I'd be smacking on something, trying to get it perfect, and be like, "Man, you ain't building a Stradivarius over there. Come on, get it done."
Yeah.
I'd be like, "How's that look?" And he's like, "Can't see from my house, man. Come on." He's like, I'm going for perfection. He's going for, efficiency, time. So.
Oh yeah, you definitely cringe if you saw some of the construction here. Most of the houses are cinder block, and there is not one 90-degree angle anywhere.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Sounds like a Huber home.
Yep.
There's, if you measure the windows here, like if you're going to put mini blinds up, would you measure them? They're not the same.
Is gone out here.
They're just like, one side will say 64 or 48 inches tall, and the other side will be 62. It's like,
nothing
wow,
square anywhere near here. So I just had to learn that early on. It's like, if you're going to try to put in a new door or something, expect nothing's going to frame up right. It ain't going to happen.
Well, houses settle, so you have to keep that in mind. The other thing too is
that's not the deal with Huber homes. Let's put it this way: back when these homes were built, my house was built in, I think, 55 or 56. And it was a plat development in the Dayton area. There's what they call Huber Heights, and then there's what they call Huber South. Well, my house is in what they call, it would be the area of Huber South. Well, the full price of a house when this was built was like $5,000. And they're tract houses.
Right. So it's kind of a cookie cutter design. They just put them up in a hurry.
Well, they have one of the original houses. You had, of course, 2 and 3 bedroom. Some of the 3 bedroom had either 1 or 2 baths. They're slab houses. They're brick, but they'd bring out like loads of bricks. And if you look down a row of the houses, it's really funny because you'll see so many that are the red brick. And then you'll see maybe 1 or 2 that's what blonde or buff brick. And then you wind up with one house that's a little bit everything.
Well, that's the Heinz 57 house. That's whatever was left over.
It's just affectionately referred to as wild brick. And that's exactly what it is. You got some buff ones in there. You've got some that might be charcoal. You've got some red ones. But when you put it together, it looks really cool. But yeah, you don't waste the brick, okay?
No.
And instead of, their idea of a drywall and my idea is like, it's not plaster, it's drywall, and it's not that great a drywall. Their plumbing is, I have a 3-bedroom and mine's L-shaped, okay? So the kitchen and the bathroom share a wall. Okay. So if something goes wrong in the kitchen, with the outside pipe is connected to the pipe that goes to the kitchen sink, the bathtub, the toilet, etc., etc., etc. And if one of them leaked, I turned on the faucet outside, and it was fine. I put the hose on it, gonna go wash the car, and it's like, what the hell? Water was coming from behind the wall.
crap.
Yeah,
So-
that was kind of a shortcut they would do is they'd have like what they call a wet wall. So you have all your plumbing in one area.
yeah. So, you know, you could get black mold faster. Yeah, okay. Well, I have to
all
laugh.
the plumbing in this place, Lord, this house, it's probably 20 years old. So you can imagine everything had to be torn out and redone. And
Well, the funny thing is there's no easy access to get to the outside faucet, which is connected together with a juncture in order to get to the pipe under the sink. There's no access panel. Now I had to have, yeah, it's Huber. Well, it was built in 55. Okay, they figured they'd fall apart by then, I guess. And the faucet in the bathtub had a bad faucet, so I had to have it replaced. Well, in order to replace that, now the original way the house was set up, it had some weird metal, funky looking, what the hell were they thinking, tile. There was some kind of gross out green. And the Einsteins had the house decided it'd be a good idea to paint over it.
Ugh.
And so when they remodeled the house before I bought it, they put these, you've seen those plastic panels, they sell them at Lowe's for your bathroom, around the bathtub, you know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they kind of slide together.
Well,
yeah, I've got that in my bed.
Well, yeah, and you've got to use the epoxy in that and form the seam in that. They had to pull one of those down, but they couldn't re-stick it because when they pulled it down, they tore part of the drywall. So here's this piece. So they had to replace that panel, and there's still no access to it.
And it reminds me of that Tom Hanks movie, The Money Pit, where he gets this really nice looking house, and as soon as they pull one thing, everything starts to fall apart.
Yeah.
I like when they put the water in the bathtub and it flowed through the floor.
That was good.
That it busted into a gazillion pieces. Sadly, it was a clawfoot bathtub. That broke my heart.
But yeah,
I had one of those when I was
first time
growing up.
homeowner. You realize that money pit scenario is not too far off. It seems like every other week something breaks or something has to be replaced.
Well, now this house, I didn't have any trouble with it for years. Now, I went FHA first time buyer when I bought the house. So they sent this company called Sherlock Homes, Homes, and they come out and they inspect the house. Okay. To make sure that you don't have this, you don't have that. Well, about 2 years after I bought the house, I started seeing things on my wall. They weren't roaches. They had wings.
Oh.
They had wings.
Termites.
Well, I called the people who had inspected it, and they said they didn't know what they were. You're an extermination company, right? So then I called Terminex, and they said they're termites. They had eaten through a hole through the windowsill and had been gnawing on the paper on the drywall.
Wow.
So I have to have that section of that wall cut out and make sure that that stud behind that is still good and replace the windowsill.
Well, you know, I've got a story to tell. When my wife and I first got married, we had to move back to Mississippi from Alabama, where we were living at the time, to take care of my mom. And there was a small house right beside Mother's house that had once been an automobile shop that my grandfather worked in, and my grandmother had converted that into a small house to have a nursery school there for small children, and that's the way she earned her living after my grandfather died. Well, that had been converted into a small home that was being rented out when I was growing up to people with renters, you know, first time renters. You know, basically it was about the size of a small apartment in there. One great room, a bedroom, a kitchen, and a bathroom, and that's it. And we lived in there for a little while. Now, the whole house had this paneling on the wall, this old 1970s era paneling that we all laugh at now. And I can remember moving that, taking down some of that paneling, and looking at the wall behind it, and there was just termite tracks all in it. The termites had just eaten the place alive, and we had to live in that for a few years until I finally bought another house here in town. But
Yeah, wait till you see episode 1
oh,
of this old
I
crack
can't
house.
wait! I can't wait to see this old crack farm
It's
because
gonna be. Well, I've got different things. I've got to sell the hay. I've got to bush hog the fences. I got to clean up the barn. There's old tires and stuff out there behind the barn. Nice barn, probably built about 15 years ago. It's very newish. It's not beat up and dented and gross or anything. It's like new. But the house obviously is old. I think it looks cool. It's got a lot of character. But it was built. The thing is that I bought this farm. That just the farm itself, I figure the house is not adding much value to this farm. If if I have to knock this house over, at least I still have a spot. I still have a base, a foundation with services run to it. I still have electric and water services at the very least. So that's the start, So
Well, that's the expensive part, is getting that stuff put in and hooked up.
yeah. So if I've got the land and the water and the services, I'm way ahead. And then the marginal value that the house adds to it's not much of a loss, but I think it would be a loss just from an aesthetic point of view because it is a cool looking house. It's got a nice old timey gambrel. This was built back when you got a 2x4. You could literally measure it, and it was 2 foot by 2 inches by 4 inches. It wasn't the kiln dried, 2.5 by. Building a house is a system. I don't know if you've ever built one from the foundation up, but you got plates and headers and cripples, and they all go together a certain way. And when the one wall tees into another, you've got the lath catchers, and then you've got the bearing walls have to have by code double plates on the top. You got to have your treated lumber on the bottom of certain walls, et cetera, et cetera. So hopefully this has some respect for the code, but this is probably built in the 20s. So I doubt it.
But I imagine in some cases you're better off just stripping it down to the foundation and starting over, because then you know what the bones are.
Well, I'm going to take all the plaster off of these walls. I mean, all of it. But it's not that big of a house. So
it's got real plaster walls. Oh, you're going to have a whole lot of fun. Hey, Zazel, good to see you in the house there, brother.
Well, it's gonna be getting the daggone garbage cans, the Rubbermaid garbage cans up and down the steps, because they run upwards of 250, 300 pounds once you get them filled halfway with that drywall plaster. It's lath and plaster, and the not the drywall plaster, the horsehair plaster on the lath, and that's a cage match getting that stuff down up and down these old steps, and probably not too safe. So we'll see what we got under there, and then we can run the Romex and tear out the old plumbing and replace that with. But fortunately, the water service is pretty much stacked to one wall where I have the kitchen close to the bathroom. So it's going to be relegated to more or less one corner of the house. The back half of the back wall, exterior wall, is going to be where all the plumbing's run up. So I think we're going to be not too bad. We'll see what episode that comes up with. So I'll probably start filming here in the next few weeks, maybe after it warms up, and then maybe I'll start releasing late spring, and so that every week I can have an episode that's edited. I've got no idea what I'm doing on terms of editing and music, so we'll all learn together.
Yeah, and that'll be part of the fun.
Now, do you have any weather concerns there with your property? So you have like a certain season that you can build in before weather turns on you?
Well, I'm in southern Ohio. I've built houses year round. I've been out there in the winter. I've been out there in the slush. We used to have these old worm drive saws that were all steel. What I think it was Rockwell. And you'd have your foot in the slush and you reach down on the subfloor to grab one of those things and get zapped pretty good. So I've learned. I've been out in the brutal heat. Ohio is it's like Korea. It's in the winter it gets down to 20 below and it gets to 115 degrees in the shade in the summer sometimes, like
Oh
a
my
mash
Lord.
episode. It gets really brutal. But
Do you have a lot of humidity there in your area? No.
yeah, we have what's called the Miami Valley, and the way that the topology of that area is, and I'm talking about the tri-state. I'm talking about Kentucky, Ohio, southeastern Indiana. It just channels the particulate up that valley, and it's the way the glaciers ran, and pushed the ground around. So there is a smog issue, a naturally forming smog issue. That's it's pretty uncomfortable. So
Sinus
good.
Valley.
What was that?
Sinus Valley.
Sign. Oh, okay. Yeah, right. It's well, LA's the same way. You've got the Angeles forest trapping the air from the, you know, uh, shutting down that sort of flow eastward. So that's why they could talk about the LA smog. The part of that is a natural occurrence that happened before there was a city there. Obviously, it's worse with the traffic, but there's these naturally occurring smog pockets that happen, and one of them is Miami Valley in Ohio. So it's gonna be tough. I'm gonna see if there's any man left in me to handle this. It's gonna be 110 degrees. I'll probably work at night, and I'm gonna have be soaked in sweat. I'm gonna have drywall powder, broken drywall powder caked onto my neck and my back and my face, just like the old days.
Oh yeah. sounds like tons of fun.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
looking forward to it.
you know, I was listening to you talk about all this crap that you're gonna have to go through to refurbish the crack farm there,
Yeah.
and I was wondering if you guys knew that back in the olden days that Sears and Roebuck sold houses,
Yes. Yes.
and they would arrive unassembled on a rail car,
Yeah.
and you had instructions, and you would take all this material, you had all the nails, all the boards, and everything you needed to build a house, and you had a set of plans, and you use those plans to build a house. My brother Anthony actually lives in a Sears and Roebuck home that's still standing to this very day.
Oh
Was
yeah.
any of it prefabbed, or was it all just raw
No,
material and
no,
good luck?
no. It was on a rail car, and they brought it to your house, and it was basically on pallets.
Well, it was your house.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. You took it to the lot.
Yeah.
And then you had a foundation and you had everything. That part you had to do. But as far as the flooring and everything else, it was all on different sections. And this bunch was this and this bunch was that.
Well,
It was like, yeah.
In the 80s, the late 80s, early 90s and stuff, when I was working on construction sites, they had prefab walls, wall packages that sometimes we usually would roll up on a foundation, and it would just be a huge stack of 2x4s. But
I think I might be mistaken, but I think I read somewhere whether it's either I keep thinking either Lowe's or Home Depot. I don't think it's Menards. Actually still sells the prefab sections where you can do a roof and the sections for the walls. But nobody has the whole house thing.
No, they have
they have garages they can bring out to your house though.
They have the prefab truss packages that you can have made. They sell a plan, and then the plan can indicate what the truss dimensions are and stuff, and they can gang nail those together pretty quick on as you need them. But that's how it's built.
Yeah, 84 lumber used to have them.
We had a company called Dick Moore here in this area. I don't know if that was prevalent in Tennessee, but Dick Moore Homes, and they were prefab houses, and they would come out and it would be sections of the house on a truck, and they would come out and they would kind of assemble it to, and you could have different layouts of it, and you could have it assembled up to all the way to a perfect home ready to move into, or it could be assembled to up to a certain point where you finish out the rest of it. Are you guys familiar with that?
There's a builder here in this. I keep thinking he's out of Beaver Creek, and I can't think of the name of the company, where they have all these different floor plans that you can select. You pick out the lot, you pick it out, and basically it's, to me, it's almost a throwback to the old school Sears, only it's seriously upscale.
Well,
you know what I mean? And I can't, something builders, I'd have to look it up. I'm not sure what it's called.
They use like Dries or something like that. You roll through a suburb, you're gonna see maybe a half a dozen different floor plans. You know that they
I
have.
can't think of the name of this company, but they advertise it all the periodically, and they have like almost like a neighborhood or an area where they're all sectioned off into plots and lots for homes, and they have all these different floor plans for you to choose from. And the way it's set up, I think on one of their commercials, within 30 to 45 days, the house is ready to move in.
Wow.
And I don't remember how they go about it. I've heard of Dries, but I don't think that's the name of them. I'd really have to look it up, but they primarily, for the longest time, were out around the Beaver Creek, Xenia Township area off of 35 over where Lang Chevrolet and all that.
I don't know.
Car Lot Alley is down in there. As you go into Xenia, the last bastion of Beaver Creek, before you hit the windy city of Xenia.
Yeah, Xenia's famous for having been flattened in 1978, I think, by a
I
series
was at work. I was at work when it hit. We were working. I was working at a company that they're out of business now. They used to be called Schweller Tool and Die. It was a small tool and die job shop, and we were at work, and it was in the factory was in one of those steel buildings, you know, like the old school big steel warehouse. Looks like a glorified pole barn these days. But we started hearing hail hit the roof of the plant, and we all stopped what we were doing, like, what in the? And that was long before tornado sirens or anything. And I don't remember if that was, no, that had to have been 73 or 74. When the first big one that I remember hit. Now there's been a couple pretty good sized ones. They had one right in the middle of winter one year. And I walked outside, and those hail balls were about that. Oh, I'm making that sign again, guys.
Oh yeah.
There's that sign. There's that. Figure this approximately this big around. And at the time, I was driving a '63 Chevy Bel Air wagon, and it came down. The hail came down at such an odd angle. You know how the fender would go up like this, and then kind of a rounded point, and then go down and out. It actually came down at such an angle, it dented right on that rounded point on an angle.
Wow.
It had an indent on it. And on that big old wagon, that's the only dent I had on it from all that hail. That's back when they made real cars back then.
Yeah. Those cars were made to last, unlike.
Yeah, you also had 26 cents a gallon too.
Yeah, well,
Well,
there's no
you also had lots of Rochester carburetors in the Chevys and power glide transmission. Gotta love it.
Speaking of gasoline prices, have you guys noticed the gasoline prices have gone up again?
They jumped 40 cents since New Year's Day.
Exactly. Now, what is the hell is that all about?
Yeah, it's the
Well,
same
they
here.
wanted it. It's a false sense of security for the holidays. It finally dawned on creepy, sleepy, sniffy, crawly, slithery JoJo that you can't keep taking out of the reserve constantly. I think I read somewhere there's not much left of it.
Oh no, the National Reserve. Well, the Democrats never want us to have a National Reserve in the first place.
Well, the bad thing is the way I look at it. It's been dipped into before in emergencies where, hurricanes or something like that, where it damaged the ability to get the oil from certain areas. I get that. It was never for this.
No, what it was for was for a damn war. If we had a war and we needed to have gasoline to fight the war, we were supposed to have a national reserve.
Well, but I'm saying though, it had been dipped into before for national disasters.
Yeah,
we all
but
can
it
understand
wasn't
that.
meant to be dipped into to control oil prices, though. That's
we do have a national disaster, Joe Biden.
Well, that's about the truth.
I think that's as far as I'm going to dip into that. Otherwise, yeah, don't
we
get
understand.
Me. We don't want to go there too hot and heavy.
No.
Well, we got it. I think the first time I was on, we had a little bit of an issue with something. And tried to be a good girl. Really, really try.
Well, anyway, but yeah, I was noticing that right after New Year's, the gasoline prices began going up again, and I think Susudio probably hit the nail on the head. They had allowed the gasoline prices to get low so that folks would spend all that money in the holidays, and now they're jumping it back up. Because I watched it go up at least 50 cents in one day.
Wow.
Well, have you watched the prices of certain items? Stop and think. During the Christmas season, there's nothing wrong, and we all know all retailers do it. There's certain hot commodity items that people buy over the holidays. Mm-hmm. Whether it's a television, a stereo, a fridge, a freezer, cars. Those are high ticket items that a lot of people buy around the holidays. Mm-hmm. But people didn't buy a lot of them. Have you looked at how cheap you could get a 70-inch TV right now?
Right. Yeah.
I can get a 48-inch TV almost as much as 6 months ago. I was going to be paying for a 20 to 24-inch.
Wow. What we're seeing here, because I'm not in the continental U.S., is distribution and things that used to be shipped here.
Yeah,
a lot of things just aren't showing up anymore.
Well,
so
the thing is
are coming.
Yeah. Well, right now, all of a sudden, we're seeing a lot of stuff like TVs are starting to appear at the stores. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm a little leery of buying certain items. I got to take this off. This was for a lark. What do you think?
I thought it was kind of cute. The antlers kind of remind me of Jim Varney used to have a character that had a hand on top of his head.
Oh, no, you know who that reminds me of? Howie Mandel blowing up that surgical glove with his nose and letting it fly off his head.
Yeah.
You remember back in the day? Oh, now excuse the messy hair, but I mean, I'm not going to a fashion show.
We don't stand on ceremony here.
By the way, you were showing your shirt. You see what this says on? See that?
Mm-hmm.
That's the Hodge twins.
Oh, okay.
Second Amendment.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Very nice.
They every once in a while have what they call mystery T-shirts, and you can get them for like $10. Thing is, you don't know what you're going to get, so that's kind of questioning. And the fear you always have is, what if I get one I've already got? And then you stop and think, well, who cares? I'll wear the son of a gun anyway, right?
Yeah.
This was one of the mystery T-shirts. I can't read upside down, but it's got the Second Amendment written in the shape of an American flag. See?
Nice.
With the rounds, the stars go around second. It's a very cute shirt, and I didn't have
It's
a
kind of
red.
funny here. One of the things that are popular, they call them mega paca. Paca is in a big pack. What they'll do is they'll order big old pallets full of clothing from companies in the States, whether it's Goodwill or other secondhand stores.
Right.
And they'll ship them here and sell them, real inexpensive. So you'll often see people wearing shirts with certain logos or sayings. Well, everybody here speaks Spanish. They don't know what the shirt says. They just picked it because it was a color they liked or it didn't have a hole in it.
Well,
I came up to a guy and I was talking to him about his shirt. And he's like, man, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. So your shirt. He's like, dude, it's just a shirt. I wear it so I keep, the grease off me when I'm working on the car. I don't know what it says.
Yeah,
right.
What it says on it. So they get all these clothes from Goodwill or whatever, and they
right.
Sell them.
Yep.
I got a T-shirt, and this is funny. There's a coffee company that I don't know if you've ever watched this one guy, Heavy Duty Country. He's also got another channel called Practical Gunners. I was watching his channel one day, and he was going off on Black Rifle Coffee.
Yep.
Because of because of the money they sent to those people who shall remain nameless.
Yeah, I remember there was a big
big hoot. And the owner of it it's supposedly veteran owned. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with anything. But don't represent yourself as something you're not. To me, that's kind of false advertising. Anyway, this guy's out of San Antonio, Texas. There's a coffee company down there called Invader Coffee. Now, their logo is death. Complete with the robe and the skull face and the sickle.
Right.
The whole bit.
Death before decaf.
Well, I don't know if they got a shirt like that, but they've got some weird stuff. They probably do. I just haven't looked. They do not sell decaf coffee though, so we'll go there. And they have a coffee that they came out with 2 years ago called FJB. So they're people after my own heart. It's an independent coffee company. They're owned by veterans. They had one coffee that, I'm sorry, I don't know if any of you fine folks like flavored coffees.
No, I want my coffee to taste like coffee.
Well, no, not that kind of flavor. We're not talking pussy coffee, okay?
Okay.
We're talking with a little bit of flavor to it. Like that enhances it in some way, shape, or form. Sure. They've got one that's called bacon bourbon.
Okay.
Two great tastes that taste great together.
Bacon and bourbon.
The thing is, it's not what it sounds like it is. I was a little disappointed, but pleasantly surprised at the same time. It's got a smoky, sweet flavor.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't taste like bacon. I'm sorry, dude. Put more bacon in that shit, okay?
Did it have any bourbon flavor to it? That's my question.
Well, yeah, it had that sweetish, like a
Sweet,
sweet
smoky.
flavor to it. It was the smokiness you'd get from bacon, and it had that sweet flavor. I didn't put creamer in it at first. I wanted to see what it tasted like all by itself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really good. Well, they've got another one that's called In Case of Emergency.
Okay, that sounds fishy.
Is it like a quadruple espresso or something?
No, that's Death Wish.
Mm.
There's actually a coffee company called Death Wish. It's got all, its advertisement is highest caffeinated coffee on the market.
Nice.
So if y'all want to be wired for sound, I suggest that one. But this one,
love a good cup of
I
coffee.
just stick with plain old Folgers coffee. Now that brings up a question for Gnome. Gnome, are you still with us down there, man? You've been quiet. You sound like
He might have stepped out to get a cup of coffee himself.
Could be.
well, see, we're talking about coffee, so. But this, in case of emergency, it's like a Colombian type coffee, like a stronger coffee, which I can go with. I like a good cup of coffee. Now, I ordered originally the actual Invader Coffee T-shirt, which is a black shirt. It's got their logo on the front, and it's got this real. I can't even remember what the saying is on the back, but I liked it. Well, the order didn't come, and it didn't come. I'd ordered, I think it was two bacon bourbon and that shirt. Nothing came and nothing came. And they had sent me an email. So I contacted them on the phone, and they said, well, we're sorry, we were holding on the order. And I'm like, what, you ran out of bacon bourbon coffee? What? And they air roast theirs. So it's got a cleaner, not burnt flavor to it. We're out of that T-shirt. Well, shit, you could have sent me an email before now, by God.
Yeah.
But we can send you a different shirt. Well, what have you got? By this time, you're frustrated. So it's hard to pull up their website while talking on the phone.
Yeah.
Especially a smartphone, because all you got to do is breathe and you'll disconnect. So this fine lady, it was a gentleman, he's describing all these shirts, and he gets to In Case of Emergency. I said, that sounds intriguing. What's it got on it? And he's describing it, and I'm like, okay, send me one of those. And just before I said, send me one of those, I was finally able to pull the ad up. And I looked at it, I said, oh, please send me that one in an extra large. I got it, and people, every time they see it, they laugh their heinies off. It's a cartoon of a bald eagle. One arm, he's got his arm thrown back, just coffee running down his mouth, and he's going for it. And the other arm, he's holding up with he's got these great big biceps. And he's holding up an AR. That's a bird after our own heart.
Yeah, exactly.
And right on one arm, it's got a big T on it. He's wearing a muscle shirt. I've got to show off the biceps, right? And he's got the old school, kind of shorter athletic shorts on with muscular legs, frowning while chugging coffee, and has hair like Donald Trump.
Oh, wow.
And the picture, I couldn't get over the picture. So when I saw that my box had come from Invader, I opened it, and the first thing I pulled out was that damn T-shirt. I got to see this thing. I could not stop laughing. I couldn't. So if you ever pull up Invader Coffee, look that up.
I'll have to check it out.
It is hysterical. So next time I order something from them, I think I'm going to have them send me. I'm going to turn this off for a minute. Okay. I'm going to have them send me. I'm going to have them send me another one of them their T-shirts. Well, because it's a real soft. It's black. The T-shirt is, and black T-shirts shrink so easy. And besides that, I've been wearing the other, and I want to have a spare in case I wear the other one out.
Yeah, I kind of had a little bit of a culture clash when I first got here. Guatemala is known for having areas where they grow really good coffee. That's Antigua and a few other cities here. They have really nice coffee plantations. So I go into a restaurant, I'm expecting to get some really good coffee. So I order some, cafe, and they bring me a coffee, and I take a sip, and it's like, that tastes like instant. What the hell? And it's like, if you don't specifically tell them you want real coffee, they'll give you instant coffee here. I'm like, all right, did you bump your head? Y'all grow coffee here. You got the beans just down the street. You're going to give me instant coffee? A lot of people
it's like I can get taste.
The good coffee they export.
Really, I can go to the. Else. You could go to the grocery store and get Taster's Choice. Hello.
Yeah.
But gentlemen, it's getting a little late in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling a little peaked and tired.
Okay.
I enjoyed talking to you, fine gentlemen, but do look that up. You will get the biggest laugh. And if you have as twisted a sense of humor as I do, you'll do the dumb thing I did. Send me one of them damn things.
Hey. All right.
We always enjoy
like you get a little tired there. Maybe if you hit the sack, go ahead.
I think I'm gonna mosey on out of here, gentlemen. You have a great week. If I don't make an appearance, my voice is in and out.
Yeah.
It's the Sinus Valley in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
It has, there's some smog, it's worse around Cincinnati than up here, but it's that time of year with the temperature change and, the dead grass and the mold's dying down. And welcome to Sinus Valley. Yeah. But you guys have a great one. It's been a pleasure. I hope I didn't bore you.
Oh, no. We always enjoy having you on, hon, and you always have the most wonderful stories. And you're a natural born storyteller, so you just kept us enthralled.
Okay, I'll translate that into I'm a natural born bullshit artist.
Well, all right, Tesudio, you have a good rest there, hon, and we'll see you next time, okay, babe?
Okay, are you going to have an after party next week, young man?
That is my goal, is to have an after party on Saturday nights for a couple of hours to let everybody come in and continue their conversations from the chat at AOM.
But by the way, I tried the standard Invader coffee. I think you fine gentlemen will enjoy it. It's a nice, relaxing, delicious cup of coffee.
Okay,
check it out.
It's just excellent, good coffee. But I'm going to have to order some of that in case of emergency. That sounds interesting.
It might be.
Don't plan on sleeping for a day or two after.
Yeah, it sounds like it's really over caffeinated there.
That's what I thought too. But the more I read about it, I don't know why it's called that. Oh, by the way, they have a seasonal blend that's called Bad Santa.
I bet that's good.
I think it's got chocolate and something else in it.
Okay.
And then they've got a pumpkin pecan.
Now that sounds interesting.
It sounds a little frou-frou.
It's not as frou-frou as you think. If you just take like, like the allspice, like you'd put in a pumpkin pie.
Okay. Yeah.
There's no pumpkin to it. Everybody, if I have one more person say, I don't like pumpkin, there's no pumpkin in the coffee.
Right. It's spice.
That's why it's called pumpkin spice, children.
No,
But
it's the same damn spice that they put in sweet potato.
Right, sweet potato pie, pumpkin pie.
Tastes about the same.
Well, it's got the nutmeg and the cinnamon. But it also, and it's got pecans in with. Well, I guess it's ground up in it, or the pecan flavor.
Yeah, well, we do what's called sweet potato casserole around Thanksgiving time.
Yeah.
And it's basically the filling from sweet potato pie with like pecans on the outside.
Right.
And all that.
I've heard of it. I've never had it. I'm diabetic, so if you think some of my coffee sound frou-frou, that's my way of getting sweet stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah, we understand.
Because I get like sugar-free Coffee Mate or International and go that route. Then that way it's kind of of course I don't drink too much of it or I'll
Yeah.
And
I'm
besides
caffeinated right now. I've had about 5 cups of coffee since we started the show, I think.
Well, it's not only that, it's being a heart patient.
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't drink that much caffeine, but as much heart medicine as I take, I think that's the only reason sometimes I'm not comatose. Well, you stop and think I got blood pressure medicine and I got heart medicine. I take gabapentin for nerve pain. I have a muscle relaxer. And if things get really bad, there's a hydrocodone.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's the strong stuff right there.
Well, no, that's oxycodone is the nasty business. Hydrocodone translates into Vicodin.
Okay. All right. I got you.
But I don't understand how people can get addicted to like hydrocodone. It has a very nasty side effect. You can't doodle. Let your imagination wander. I'm not going to come out and say it.
Twice a day for me, and that means my constitution's good.
Well, no, this doesn't let you have your constitution.
I got you. I understand that, and that's bad, real bad.
Oh, well, yeah, so I try very hard not to have to take that.
Yeah, I understand.
Of course, now, muscle relaxer. Yeah, I have been known to take it, but it doesn't have as nasty a side effects.
Right.
Plus, being pretty much by myself, if I have to go check on Dad and he calls like he did yesterday, I had to run him to the hospital yesterday.
Oh, my goodness. Is he okay?
Yeah, he had my dad has, oh God, what's it called? Arrhythmia.
Okay.
Cardioarrhythmia, where it can knock itself off a tempo.
Yeah.
Now, if it does that for very much, you'll build up fluid.
Yeah.
Now, if I retain water, mine goes to my legs.
Mm-hmm.
If Dad does, it goes in his chest, and then he can't breathe.
Wow.
So he kept telling me he didn't feel good. I said, well, do you want to do this and that and something else? My dad just turned 90 the 12th of last month.
Mm-hmm.
And I lost my mom in 2019. That was a very bad year for me.
Yeah.
I lost my dog who was over 20. I had a heart attack, and I lost my mother on my birthday.
Oh, that's terrible.
And my birthday is the traditional Memorial Day.
Mm-hmm.
So if you add all that on one day, that sucks. But no, he kept feeling funny. And I kept asking him, "Are you okay?" Well,
Yeah.
hard head. So finally, he called me yesterday. I was getting ready to hit the shower because I had some stuff I wanted to do, minor things like pay some bills.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't trying to put him off. And I was being honest. I said, "You just caught me on my way into the shower." He says, "Well, how long would it be till you get done with your shower?" And I said, "About 25 minutes. Well, you stop and think. You get in the shower, you wash your hair, you clean yourself up. Then you got to dry off. Then you got to grab your clothes, get dressed, get your shoes. Then the fun is finding your car keys. Why do your car keys hide from you? Anybody have an answer?
Mm-mm.
They got a mind of
Kind
their
of like,
own.
why does a dryer eat socks?
And it can be in your house. And you still wind up with the queer sock.
Yeah, the odd one out. Yeah.
And then if you do find them that match, you think they match, till you go to put them on and the tops don't match.
Yeah.
Like if I've got several pairs of the Nike shorter socks, and the swoosh is different and the band is different on some of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I put one on and I put the other one on and I said, "Wait a minute, this one's got a gray heel and that one don't. What the hell did I do?"
Oh,
Then
I've got some socks here that I don't have diabetes, but I like wearing diabetic socks.
Oh yeah, they are. Well, they don't hurt your legs.
Yeah, and they're called Metapeds, and they're all just stuffed in my sock drawer. Well, some of them have a gray logo across the toes, and some of
Right.
them have a blue logo across the toes. And I just get up in the morning, grab two pair, and stick them on. A lot of times, I'll have a blue one on one
Yeah,
foot.
I've done that.
I don't care.
I'll tell you what, I found the most comfortable socks, and it takes forever for them to wear out.
Mm-hmm.
They are diabetic socks, and they come in the calf size, or they come in the just above the ankle height. They're called Eco socks.
Okay.
ECOSOX.
Okay.
They're made out of bamboo.
All right.
Really?
They are the most comfortable, best wearing, and your feet don't sweat in them.
I'm gonna have to look into that because I have a big sweaty foot problem.
Well, we all do, regardless of what anybody says. We know if we stand on our feet very long or walk around very long, we get the funky toes. I'm sorry, but we do. I ran into them at a store called Dorothy Lane Market. I'd never seen them in my life. And I saw they said bamboo, and I'm like, what? And then I saw that they said diabetic. And the ankle high one's what I usually wore to work. Because climbing up and down on a forklift, you don't want a binding in your calf. Well, my feet, being in a factory, your feet are going to sweat. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
My feet didn't sweat. My feet didn't stink. And I didn't have a sunk-in spot around my ankle.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a pair I've had.
I'll let everybody know. Gnome has told me in private chat here that he had to bail for tonight. He's got some things he's got to do in the morning. And good night, Gnome. Glad you stopped by and spoke with us tonight. We'll see you again whenever you come back next time. Go ahead.
Good night, Gnome. But I've got pairs of them I've had for 3 years. No holes. No pulls.
Eco socks or something I'm going to have to look into, and I thank you for pointing me in that direction, Susudio.
Well, and the funny thing is, they're made here in West Carrollton, Ohio.
Oh wow! Okay, American made too. That's even better.
They do have a website.
Okay.
That I can tell you. Whether they sell them in your area, I don't know. I think the last pair I've got, they're either $3.99 or $4.99 per pair. But if they last that long, who cares?
Right.
I will warn you, they don't dry real fast. Okay, they take a while, like the heavy old tube socks used to, but they don't. I've never had a pair fall apart, and the ones that I did find had a hole in them are probably about 5 years old, and it's not in the heel; it's at the side of the toe.
Okay. Now I'll put the link in the chat. I'll put the link in the chat to the EcoSocks website. So if you guys are catching the restream here and you stayed on this long, and you're watching the live chat replay, you'll see that.
I think you'd really like those, Bill, because you like to stand around and you like to do your models and your work in that. I think you'd be more comfortable.
Well, I appreciate that, and that is something I'm going to look into, because like I said, I love these diabetes socks because I can't stand to have those really tight socks around.
I can't either. I have to be very, very careful, because if they're too tight, it'll make your legs swell.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll wind up with a pudgy foot when you take your sock off.
Yeah. Well, what happens to me is my upper calf will be all big. And then
it cuts the circulation off.
Yeah,
you wind up with about an inch wide indentation in your leg.
Yeah, and I'm too old for that shit, and I'm not. I'm a young man to you, but I'm feeling my age nowadays.
Well, everybody, I don't care. Once you hit over 45, it's your legs and your back and your ankles and your feet. If you've done any kind of stand up or labor type jobs, even cashiering, your legs and feet and ankles, they go out.
Yeah.
That's that and your back is the first to go out.
Well, I always said something broke after I turned 40, and it's not getting any better. It only gets worse from then on out.
Well, it eventually gets better, but you got to watch it every minute. But you guys, I'm going to go. I hope I didn't chase Noma off.
No. He had private chatted me. He's got a lot of work to do in the morning. He needs to go to bed, so he had to bow out. But we'll all do this again another time. So
just remember that about the EcoSocks and Invader Coffee. You've got to check out that shirt. It's too funny.
All right. Well,
take care, gentlemen. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. See you later. Well, we've had a wonderful evening there, Largo. We got maybe a couple more minutes here that we can hang out for just a little while. I think I'm going to go ahead and get the ducks fed here, and we'll start winding things down for tonight. We had a pretty good show. Everybody was playing nice tonight, and
pretty mellow.
We had some wonderful stories told. I've been turned on to a new source of socks, and I'm going to get into that because it's hard to find the socks that I like. This year, my wife, bless her heart, she went and tried to find some socks for me, and they're nice socks, but they're not. They constrict my ankle, and I can't take that. I have to have a loose sock up here. So, anyway, we're gonna go ahead and say good night to everyone. We had 6 people that stayed with us until the bitter end. Thank you guys for being here. And as we always say in the end here, together we will triumph. And thanks everybody for joining us today. And we'll see y'all next time. Special thanks to these supporters on Patreon. Without your help, these adventures would not be possible. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed today's adventure, please hit like and subscribe and share the video.